All right, let's dive into an incredible 60-year journey through the world of business data. We're going to start way back in the age of room-sized mainframes and a language called COBOL, and travel all the way to the artificial intelligence that is, right now, reshaping our world. So let's get into it.
So here's the game plan. We'll kick things off in the 1960s, what I call the age of rigidity. Then we'll jump to the 80s, when the database literally changed everything. From there, we'll see how data finally landed on every single desktop in the 2000s, and then we'll bring it home with today's AI revolution. You'll see how each step was really a story about solving the problems of the last.
Okay, so our story really begins in the 1960s. And I want you to picture this. Massive, room-sized mainframe computers. And all the company's most precious data, it was stored on these giant reel-to-reel magnetic tapes.
Now, if there's one word to remember from this era, it's sequential. Seriously, think about your data being on an old cassette tape. If you wanted to find one specific song, one piece of information, you had to fast forward through everything that came before it. It was incredibly slow, it was clunky, and getting answers wasn't for everyone. It was a job reserved for a select few tech gurus.
This slide really gets to the heart of the problem. Back then, the programming language, COBOL, was physically tied to the tape it was reading. So asking a simple question like, hey, how many customers do we have in Toronto? Well, that wasn't a quick search. It was a major programming task that could take days. This rigidity, this inflexibility, it was the very thing that sparked a revolution in how we think about data.
And that revolution came from a guy named Edgar F. Codd. He proposed this totally radical idea. What if we separated the data from its physical storage? Let's decouple them. This single idea led to the creation of SQL, a language that lets you just declare what you wanted, like get me all sales from the West region. And the database itself would figure out the fastest way to get it. It was an absolute game changer.
So that breakthrough, it completely set the stage for our next big leap. This is where the power of data analysis finally broke out of the IT department's server room and landed directly in the hands of everyday business users.
So in the 90s, you had data warehouses starting to bring all this siloed information together. But you know what the real game changer was? A tool everyone already had on their computer, the spreadsheet. With the incredible evolution of Microsoft Excel, and later, super powerful tools like Power BI, Power Query, and DAX, which is a formula language for really complex calculations, suddenly anyone could do enterprise-level analysis right from their own desktop.
Okay, so now everybody's got access to data, right? But that created a whole new problem. You needed a new way of thinking, a new discipline to make sure all that data was actually being used to make smart decisions. It wasn't enough to just have the data. You had to turn it into action.
And that discipline is called informatics. Now, the key thing to get here is that informatics isn't just about technology. It's a whole approach that blends your technical skills with a really deep understanding of the business. It focuses on the why just as much as the how.
And check this out. Notice where this process starts? It doesn't start with gathering data. It starts with understanding the business need. The whole goal isn't just to build a cool-looking chart. The goal is to make sure that chart answers a real, pressing business question and actually leads to a tangible action.
So, we've gone on this whole 60-year journey. What does this actually mean for you, for your career, right now? Well, let's take a look at the job market in a major tech hub like Toronto to see what skills are really in demand. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're staggering. The tech workforce in Toronto, which people are calling Silicon Valley North, has absolutely exploded. It grew 44% in just 5 years. The demand for people who know how to work with data is just booming. And this right here, this chart highlights a massive opportunity. There is a high shortage of talent in both data analytics and AI. It's not just that there are jobs available. It's that companies are actively struggling to find enough mid to senior level talent to fill these crucial roles.
Okay, so now we arrive at what I think is the most exciting shift yet. This is the one that finally starts to tackle a massive challenge that businesses have been facing since way back in the 1990s.
This quote from 1998 just captures it perfectly. It's the problem of dark data. And what is dark data? Well, it's the estimated 55 to 80% of information that companies collect but never, ever analyze. Think about all those customer service chat logs, all the readings from factory sensors, or the feedback buried in millions of emails that just sit there on a server. It's a massive, untapped resource.
The modern solution to this whole problem starts with a really simple but powerful question. What if you didn't have to manually dig for every single insight? What if your data could just tell you what's important? And this, my friends, is where artificial intelligence enters our story. This represents a huge, fundamental shift in our thinking.
For decades, analytics was all about asking questions you already knew you had. You had to know what to look for. But with AI-powered tools like Microsoft's Copilot, you can now discover the unknown unknowns, those insights you didn't even think to look for. We can finally shine a light on all of that dark data.
Okay, let's bring this all together. We've just covered 60 years of data history. So why does any of this matter to you today, whether you're a manager leading a team or a professional trying to grow your career?
So if you're a leader, what's your playbook? Well, it's pretty clear. You need to invest in modern tools, for sure. But even more importantly, you have to build a culture that actually values data. It's about empowering your teams, experimenting with AI to find those hidden gems, and making sure you have strong data governance so you can actually trust your insights.
And for professionals, for students, the path forward is all about continuous learning. It's just not enough to know only one thing anymore. The market wants hybrid, T-shaped people. That means you have deep expertise in one area, but broad knowledge across others. You need to blend technical mastery of tools like Power BI and SQL with AI literacy. And, this part is crucial, the soft skills to communicate your findings and think critically about the results.
So we've journeyed all the way from rigid data on magnetic tapes to conversational AI that can surface insights in seconds. The power to unlock incredible value is more accessible than it has ever been before. Only thing left to figure out is, what's your next great question?